have entered back to school days, and you guys, probably like me, are getting ready to start school if you haven't started already. So, I just want to tell you, school is something I love. I have always loved playing school when I was little. It's one of the first things I can remember doing. And then after I graduated from college, I missed it so much that I went back. And then when I was done with that, I decided to become a teacher, which I didn't necessarily think that I was going to do when I was your age. But I just always loved school and still love school. I love learning. I love asking questions. And I love being able to give the answers sometimes. And I also love just being able to explore the possible answers with my students. So this is always a really exciting time of year for me. And ever since I was little, I don't know if you guys are the same way, but the night before school starts, I am not able to sleep, like not a wink. Every night before school I can remember, from the time I was your age to then going to college and going to grad school and then becoming a teacher. I'm always wide awake the night before. And so that day is coming up for me, and probably like you, my school year feels different than it's ever felt before. We all went through a lot last spring. I bet a lot of you stopped school suddenly and then started doing school at home. As a teacher, I did the same thing. And I know a lot of us are in the process of doing really different things now as we begin a new year than we've ever done before, and maybe we expected to do. So the beginning of the year can always feel a little bit crazy and a little bit nerve-wracking, and I think that's especially true for this year. So if you're feeling that way, whether you are going back into a school building, or whether you are learning at home, it's going to look different for everybody, and it's okay to feel that. And so because of that, the first book I want to read today in celebration of going back to school is a really fun book called First Day Jitters. Now, I always tell my students in my theater classes that we all feel nervous at different times. In fact, I always think that feeling nervous is a good sign. It's a sign that you take your job seriously and that you want to do well. And that we can always use our nerves to give us some extra energy and some extra oomph. But it can feel scary to feel jitters and feel nervous, especially as we're learning how to use those things. But it's normal, and I think this book does a great job of talking about that. So, First Day Jitters. Okay. Sarah dear, time to get out of bed, Mr. Hartwell said, poking his head through the bedroom doorway. You don't want to miss the first day at your new school, do you? And there's Mr. Hartwell poking through the door to wake Sarah up. I'm not going, said Sarah, and pulled the covers over her head. Of course you're going, honey, said Mr. Hartwell as he walked over to the window and snapped up the shade. So you can't see her, but Sarah's under there. Her little doggy's at her feet. The cat's on the bed. Sarah is not having it. No, I'm not. I don't want to start over again. I hate my new school, Sarah said. It's different. She tunneled down to the end of her bed. How can you hate your new school, sweetheart? Mr. Hartwell chuckled. You've never been there before. Don't worry, you liked your other school. You'll like this one. Besides, just think of all the new friends you'll meet. And we have some smiling friends. I'm sure you will see some smiling familiar or new faces soon, whether online or in person. That's just it. I don't know anybody, and it will be hard, and I just hate it. That's all. What will everyone think if you aren't there? We told them you were coming. We can have either what Mr. Hartwell is imagining that will happen or Sarah is imagining will happen if she doesn't show up. Everybody's looking for her. They will think I am lucky, and they will wish that they were home in bed like me. Mr. Hartwell sighed. Sarah Jane Hartwell, I'm not playing this silly game 1 second longer. I'll see you downstairs in 5 minutes. Sarah tumbled out of bed. She stumbled into the bathroom. She fumbled into her clothes. She's getting up and getting ready. My head hurts, she moaned as she trudged into the kitchen. Mr. Hartwell handed Sarah a piece of toast and her lunchbox. They walked to the car. Sarah's hands were cold and clammy. They drove down the street. She was feeling nervous. And then they were there. I feel sick, said Sarah weakly. Nonsense, said Mr. Hartwell. You'll love your new school once you get started. Oh, look, there's your principal, Mrs. Burton. Sarah slumped down in her seat. I bet you guys are always just ready to go when you need to be at school or anywhere like that. Oh, Sarah, Mrs. Burton gushed, peeking into the car. There you are. Come on, I'll show you where to go. There we have Miss Burton looking in the car to get Sarah. She led Sarah into the building and walked quickly through the crowded hallways. Don't worry, everyone is nervous the first day, she said over her shoulder as Sarah rushed to keep up. When they got to the classroom, most of the children were already in their seats. See, I'm sitting getting ready for the day to begin. The class looked up as Mrs. Burton cleared her throat. Class, attention please, said Miss Burton. When the class was quiet, she led Sarah to the front of the room and said, Class, I would like you to meet your new teacher, Mrs. Sarah Jane Hartwell. The end. So I love that story because it's an unexpected but good reminder that even your teachers, when they're beginning to start a new school year, they're full of anticipation and they feel nervous and anxious just like you do because they are looking forward to and hoping for a good and wonderful full year with you and their class. Again, whatever shape that takes. Like I said earlier, some of us are going into school situations that we have never gone into before and that certainly look different than we expected it to look even recently. So sometimes things look different and sometimes they can feel scary or give us jitters, but you can go forward being confident that your families love you and that your teachers love you and they are going to do everything they can to give you the best year ever, even if it's unexpected. And that is why I like our next book called Sky Color. So I actually got in touch with the reading teacher at my school. We call her Miss Rappy. She's also known as the Queen of Mean, which is a joke because she's really nice. And she pointed me in the direction of some of these books. And I was so delighted with this book when I read it. And it goes so well with the activity we're going to do today. I can't wait to share it with you. So this is Sky Color. Marisol was an artist. She loved to draw and paint, and she even had her very own art gallery. What better place for an art gallery than the refrigerator? See Marisol and some of her artwork? Not All her art hung in a gallery. Much of it she shared with the world. She painted posters to share ideas she believed in. At school, Marisol was famous for her creative clothes, her box of art supplies, and her belief that everybody was an artist. So she's making a poster for Save the Ocean right here. And then she's making a Get Well card here. Yes, Marisol was an artist through and through. So when her teacher told the class they were going to paint a mural for the library, Marisol couldn't wait to begin. There's the class. The classroom buzzed with the sound of brainstorming. The students talked and sketched. Together they made a great big drawing. Then they marched to the library. I'll paint a fish. I'll paint one too. I'll paint the ocean. Marisol shouted, I'll paint the sky. There all the kids are with their ideas. Marisol rummaged through the box of paint, but could not find any blue. How am I going to make the sky without blue paint? The bell rang. It was time to put their brushes down for the day. As she climbed aboard the bus, Marisol kept wondering. All the way home, she stared out the window. The sun lowered closer to the horizon. Later at home, Marisol watched the day turn into night. That night, Marisol settled into a deep dream. She drifted through a sky swirling with colors. The colors mixed, making too many to count. In the morning, Marisol stood waiting for the bus in the rain. The sky was not blue. She smiled. At school, Marisol raced to the library. She grabbed a dish and began adding colors. This one, that one. She swirled the brush to make an altogether new color. Marisol then began painting on the wall. A boy asked, "What color is that?" "That," Marisol said, "that is sky color." There's her sky, all the wonderful colors she created. And that's the end. So again, I love that book because Marisol was a wonderful artist who got the opportunity to paint the sky. And at first she was disappointed because there wasn't blue. But her sky turned out beautiful and unique and unexpected in a way that she nor any of her classmates imagined. So I wish all those kinds of moments for you this year, that even when things are different, they become unique and exciting and wonderful, even if they're unexpected. Okay, which leads me to our really fun activity for today. For today, I think you're going to need to watch this one and do it later because it is a little heavy on the supplies. So let me walk you through what you need. The first thing you need is an adult and their permission, okay? And then you want to ask for some food coloring, a cup of water, some paper towels, and a straw. Okay, so this is called food and water coloring because it's a watercolor activity, but we use food coloring. So right here, I have a red tube of food coloring and a cup of water. And I am going to drop 2 drops of food coloring in the water, and I bet you can guess what's going to happen when I take my straw and I stir it up. my clear water has become red. So that's the first step. And then I'm gonna adjust my monitor a little bit and get the rest of my supplies out. Now, at your house, I would bet that you have more than one color food coloring, and if you do, that's great. We just made red. Earlier, before we started today, I made some blue. And then I also have yellow food coloring. And give me 2 seconds. I'm going to adjust just so you can see. Now remember, I also told you that we've already used our straw, right? And you'll use that to mix up your colors. And we have all 3 of them here. And your canvas for this project is a paper towel, which is probably really unexpected. But what I love about this project, these are all things you probably have in your kitchen. I'm going to use a straw. You can use a paintbrush if you have it. You could even use, a pen or a pencil. This is, when you see what I do with this, it's pretty creative. So we've got our food coloring in our water. So now it's time to food color watercolor. All right, so I'm gonna take my straw and I'm gonna start, I think, with a red. I'm gonna dip my straw in, and just like I would do if I were about to drink a milkshake, you dip your straw in, you put your finger over the other end. Then I'm going to bring that straw over to the paper towel, and I am going to raise my finger and let go. And when I do that, the food coloring on the paper towel absorbs and disperses a little bit. So it gives it this really nice kind of cloudy watercolor quality to it. And I've done a couple of red drops already. Now I'm going to add a blue, okay? And not only will that start to give me a really cool design where the red and blue mix together, it will start to turn, remember what red and blue make together because they're 2 primary colors? Purple, correct. And now let me grab some yellow, okay? And I'm gonna drop that on the paper towel just wherever I feel like it. And where the yellow mixes with the red, it might turn a little bit orange. Where it mixes with the green, it might turn a little bit, where it mixes with the blue, it might start to turn green. But you can have all kinds of fun with this and use as many colors of food coloring as you have and just kind of drop it all over your paper towel. And like I said, that paper towel absorbs that water and then disperses. When you finish, it will dry, so leave it alone for a little bit. And I don't know if you can see behind me, but there's one that Michael and I made earlier this summer on display. So it dries nicely and then makes a nice kind of water food coloring gift for a friend or a family member. Or you might even make one of these for your teacher, right? Whether you make it and keep it just to give to her or him when you go back to school, or maybe you are going to school and you can take it in the next day. But it's just a really fun way to use water and food coloring and paper towels, all things hopefully you have. And remember, I've been doing the milkshake method with this, right? Just like I would enjoy a milkshake, but you can also just dip the straw in and do little dots. So there's all sorts of designs. I bet you can come up with something fabulous and fun and beautiful. And I would love to see those sometimes. Okay, I do have one more story that I want to share. So time out, a little bit of monitor adjusting. This story is really fun. And remember, a couple of minutes ago, I mentioned Miss Rappy, who teaches reading at our school. She has a really good friend named Carmen Deedy. And Carmen Deedy is a very famous author who you might know, have read her books or met her. One of her most famous books is a book called The Library Dragon, which I know many of you have read. But this is a really fun book called The Rooster Who Would Not Be Quiet. And I had not read this book before, and I just love it. So as we look around, sometimes there are things we see around us that maybe need to change, or that maybe we don't like, or that maybe would be better if they were a different way. This book is a great reminder for us to always do what we know is right and what is good, even when it's hard or lonely. So let's get started. The Rooster Who Would Not Be Quiet by Carmen Deedy. Once there was a village where the streets rang with song from morning till night. See the village? Dogs bayed, mothers crooned, engines hummed, fountains warbled, and everybody sang in the shower. Which you know is where everybody sounds the best when they sing. Everyone and everything had a song to sing. This made the little village of La Paz a very noisy place. It was hard to hear. It was hard to sleep. It was hard to think, and no one knew what to do. So they fired the mayor. Now they were a very noisy village without a mayor. So they held an election. Only Don Pepe promised peace and quiet. He won by a landslide. The next day, a very polite law appeared in the village square. No loud singing in public, por favor. Things were getting better already. But more laws soon followed. No loud singing at home. No loud singing. No singing. Basta! Quiet already. The noisy village of La Paz was silent as a tomb. Even the tea kettles were afraid to whistle. Some people left the village singing loudly. Others stayed behind and learned to hum. The rest were just grateful to have a good night's sleep, for crying out loud. Seven very quiet years passed. Then one evening, a saucy gallito and his family wandered into the village and roosted in a fragrant mango tree. When the little rooster awoke the next morning, he did what roosters were born to do. He sang, "Kikeriki!" As his rotten luck would have it, the mango tree grew beneath the cranky mayor's window. Uh-oh. "You there!" groused Don Pepe. "No singing! It's the law!" "Well, that's a silly law," said the merry gallito. "Smell this sweet mango tree? How can I keep from singing?" "Huh, then I'll chop down that stinky tree," huffed Don Pepe. "Will you sing then?" The plucky gallito shrugged. "I may sing a less cheerful song, but I will sing." And he did. "Kikeriki! Kikeriki!" "Still singing?" snapped Don Pepe. "You have no tree, remember?" "I have no tree," said the gallito, "but I have my hen and chicks. How can I keep from singing?" "Will you sing if I throw you in a cage alone?" threatened Don Pepe. "I may sing a lonelier song," said the stubborn gallito, "but I will sing." And he did. "Kikeriki!" "Why are you singing now?" growled Don Pepe. "You have no hen and chicks." "No hen and chicks," the gallito sighed, "but I still have corn to eat. How can I keep from singing?" "And if you have no more corn?" asked the mayor. "I may sing a hungrier song," said the headstrong gallito, "but I will sing." And he did. "Kikeriki! Aren't you hungry, you crazy bird?" wailed Don Pepe. "Claro, of course," said the gallito. "But if the sun can still shine despite this world's troubles, how can I keep from singing?" And if you never see the sun again, snarled the mayor, and he ran for a blanket to cover the rooster's cage. I may sing a darker song, the brave Gallito called after him, but I will sing. Kiki, wiki. As the Gallito's song echoed down the soundless streets of La Paz, it stirred an old, familiar longing for a time when everyone and everything had a song to sing. Kikiriki, 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 kikiriki. Not so with Don Pepe. Singing gave him indigestion. The next day, Don Pepe stumbled out to the yard in his nightshirt. He tore away the blanket and pleaded, "You have no tree to roost in, no hen and chicks to comfort you, no grain to fill your belly, no sun to drive away the shadows. Why, oh why are you still singing? Promise to stop and I will set you free." One by one, a quiet crowd began to gather in Don Pepe's yard. "I sing for those who dare not to sing, or have forgotten how," said the Gallito. "If I must sing for them as well, senor, how can I keep from singing?" "And if I have you made into a soup," the mayor thundered, "I suppose you will still sing if you are dead?" The entire village held its breath, waiting for the Gallito's reply. "Dead roosters sing no songs," said the rooster. "Ha!" crowed Don Pepe, sure he had won. But a song is louder than one noisy little rooster, and stronger than one bully of a mare, said the Gallito, and it will never die, so long as there is someone to sing it. And there was. So, kikiriki, kikiriki, kikiriki. And there goes the mayor. Once again, there was a village where the streets rang with song from morning till night. This made for a very noisy place to live, and that's just the way everyone liked it. And then Miss Carmen gives us a note at the end. She says, "Roosters sing at sunrise. They also sing at noon, sundown, and in the middle of the night. Roosters sing when they please, and that's all there is to that. Much like roosters, human children are born with voices strong and true and irrepressible. Then bit by bit, we learn to temper our opinions, censor our beliefs, and quiet our voices. But not all of us. There are always those who resist being silenced, who will crow out their truth without regard to consequence. Foolhardy or wise, they are the ones who give us the courage to sing." The end. So there's a lot going on this year. I'm proud of you already, but just sing your song. Don't be afraid to sing as loud as you can, because when you sing loudly, you give the rest of us courage, okay? So I hope you have a wonderful night. Find your mom or dad or parent and ask them if there is one thing that you can do to be helpful to them before you go to bed. Remember, our parents love it when we help. And then I hope you have sweet dreams and a bright tomorrow, and have a great first day of school, wherever and however you're doing that. Bye.